My name is Carmine Tabone. I'm the Executive Director of the Educational Arts Team and our Literacy Initiative, Dramatic Impact. Our mission is to help students achieve academic success and make learning more meaningful. We create social and educational experiences in the classroom using a series of strategies that engage and help students become more curious about a text and to generate writing. The writing activities are integrated throughout all of our lessons. They help students describe, understand, and give expression to what they've learned. These strategies are a perfect fit to help teachers address the new Common Core state standards. Our lessons deepen students' understanding of a text and encourage them to describe characters from a story, reference the text, provide reasons that support their opinions, write narratives with descriptive details and event sequence, and engage in collaborative discussions. Since 2005, we have received a series of United States Department of Education Arts and Education grants that's provided us the opportunity to do professional development with large numbers of teachers and also demonstration workshops with students in their classes. This has enabled us to study our work and look at the effect that arts and education has on student test scores, pro-cognitive and pro-social skills, and academic work in the classroom. Test results have been remarkable. In a series of studies, our students consistently outperform those in control groups. The grants have enabled us to create a handbook that explains the strategies and includes applied lessons. And now we're going to show you some of the strategies and how you can apply them to lessons in your classroom. My colleagues, Danny and Avi, are going to introduce each one of them and then reflect on what you've seen. Now's your chance to bring these strategies into your classroom and make a dramatic impact on your students' learning.
In pop-up puppet theatre, the process starts with the teacher telling 2 short stories or fables, preferably ones that have 2 main characters. Here, we started with an Aesop's fable about a little boy who jumps in a lake on his way to school. He can't swim, so he calls for help. The second Aesop's fable we used is about a wagon driver who appeals to Hercules for help when his wagon gets stuck.
Now, let's see if we can retell as a group. We'll start with the first one. This is called a group retell.
He looks at the school, then he looks at the lake, and he decided to go in the lake. The water was still freezing cold, and he didn't know how to swim. Just help me.
Students next tell the stories to each other in pairs. A's tell the first story, and B's tell the second.
The wheel was broken, and then he said, why?
Each student then writes down the story they just told their partner, including as many details as they remember. Next, students are going to sketch the characters from the stories they told.
So for example, in The Boy Who Went Swimming, who are the 2 characters that you would have to draw? Yes.
I'm the little boy.
One would be the boy, and who would be the other character?
They start the drawings that will serve as their puppets.
Whatever you want. That's the boy who went swimming?
No, this is the
Hercules. Oh.
Then, they cut out their puppets, leaving enough white space so as not to cut into the characters.
This one is the woman who came by to come help the little girl. This is the little girl.
Students should feel free to change the gender of any of the characters.
This is the wagon driver. This is Hercules.
Students then glue paper strips on the back of their puppets so that they can hold them from the top of the strip with the puppet dangling down. Next, the children retell their stories using their paper characters, paying special attention to creating dialogue.
But you can't swim, so you're going to drown.
Having decided what the characters will say, they now write the story in a script format. The second 90-minute session is about setting. The students are asked what kinds of things might be found in the setting of each story.
In Hercules, where is he bringing his fruit?
He's bringing his food to the market.
We could draw the road to the market. Where does Hercules come out from? The clouds. So maybe you could put
The clouds open. In my scenery, I'm gonna do a big city behind. I'm going to draw a road, trees, grass, a park, and mud.
Then, they set about drawing the scenery for their puppet plays. Once they've drawn their scenery, the students then tell a partner about what they've drawn.
In my picture, it's a school, and some flowers, and a lake.
Then, the students write down as many details about their picture as they can, which is a great descriptive writing activity. Next, the children assemble their stages.
I'm ready.
Hang their scenery, and practice telling their story with puppets.
Walking to school one day.
Finally, the show is ready, and each child performs his or her story for a partner. For classroom performances, we find it best to invite a class that's a grade or two younger and have the children perform their stories one-on-one.
The little girl said, "Help, help, help me, I can't swim." And then a lady came along. Help yourself first, before we help you. My favorite part was when the girl...
At the end of the show, performers can ask their audience member what was their favorite part of the performance or scenery, a valuable interaction that can serve as a tool for student self-assessment.
My favorite part was the lake, because when I was little, I used to be around a lot of water.
Pop-Up Puppet Theatre addresses all the literary elements, giving students the opportunity to listen to and tell stories, explore visual representations, and perform for an audience in a non-threatening format. The combination of art and drama serves as an effective way of developing the students' language and literacy skills.
In Vote From Your Seat, the teacher makes a simple statement that students are then asked to vote on. If they agree with the statement, they stand, and if they disagree, they stay seated. Students are then asked to give reasons for their opinions. In this example, our statement is, "I like it when it rains." What don't you like about the rain?
I don't like about the rain when you get soaking wet.
You're standing. What do you like about the rain?
Is that it waters the plants?
It waters the plants.
Rain, when it stopped raining, a rainbow came out. I like the mud.
Why do you not like the rain?
It makes you sick.
It can make you sick if you get cold.
I like it because when it's raining, it always gotta be like a thunderstorm and thunder.
Statements become progressively more complex, with the teacher building up to a statement related to the theme of the story. For instance, when working with the story Uncle Romy, about a little boy who visits his uncle in New York City for the first time, students are asked to vote on the statement, "I like to go places I've never been before." Now you're sitting down. Why would you say, "No, I disagree, I don't like to go somewhere
Maybe
new"?
they'll be scared.
They might be scared.
You have fun things to do.
You might have fun new things to do.
They might be nervous.
They might be nervous to go there.
Because it's exciting and you get hyped up.
You might get hyped up and excited to go. This activity helps students articulate their point of view and support it with reasoning. A good follow-up writing activity is to have students write a persuasive letter to one of the characters in a story, using arguments gathered from the voting activity or citing the text itself to convince the character of his or her position. Vote From Your Seat helps students arrive at the understanding that some questions have no clear answer, or that different subjective responses to the same question are equally valid. In the hot seat activity, the teacher takes on the role and point of view of a character in a story. First, the teacher reads a short excerpt from a text. It was the summer My mama had the twins that I first met my Uncle Romy. The doctor told Mama she had to stay off her feet till the babies got born. Daddy thought it was a good time for me to visit Uncle Romy and his wife, Aunt Nanette, up north in New York City. But I wasn't so sure. After the reading, the teacher asks the students who was in the story and which of the characters they'd like to speak to. Who are the characters that we met? Who did we meet so far? Yeah.
Mom and Uncle Roman.
Mom and Uncle Roman.
The teacher and students discuss possible questions to ask the character, and then the teacher points to an empty seat.
When I sit in that chair, I'm going to be James, the person who's telling this story. When I stand up, I'm going to be Miss Danny. Can you think of any questions you'd like to ask him?
How are you doing?
I'm pretty good, except I'm really nervous.
Why are you nervous?
I'm nervous because I have to go visit my Uncle Romy, and I never ever met him before.
Students dig deeper to get more information about the characters, letting their natural curiosity lead the inquiry.
He lives way
Far
up
away?
north, far away in
I
New
got
York
another
City.
one. I got another question. Do you have a car to drive?
I don't have a car.
Does he like have 8 kids that he
Well,
don't
that's
know?
just it. He doesn't have any kids.
While any point in a story can provide an opportunity to hot seat, a particularly good time is when a character is facing a moment of decision or difficulty, such as James being nervous about his upcoming trip. At that point, students can give the character advice based upon their own life
A
experiences.
little bit less afraid. Do you have any advice for him to make him a little bit less nervous?
I should not be nervous. It's just your uncle.
I know, but I've never met him
I
before.
have another. Why have you never met him?
Because he lives so far away.
Yeah. Be brave.
Oh, you think I should try and be brave?
Yeah, play games together. Board games.
We could play board games together. What do you think back there?
Watch the games like baseball.
Oh, we could watch baseball together. That's one way to...
These hot seat dialogues provide deep insight into characters from a story. What are their wants and needs? What are their relationships to other characters? What is their role in the story? And how do their actions affect the plot? Students are drawn into a text when they see a character become someone they can relate to. As a follow-up writing activity, students can compare and contrast themselves or someone they know to characters from a story. In the activity tableau, students use their bodies to create a frozen moment or scene. They work in pairs or groups to depict people, places, things, or concepts. Students can respond to a text by showing a scene from a reading. In this excerpt, the main character, James, visits his uncle for the first time in New York City. Harlem was full of people walking, working, shopping, eating. I watched some kids playing stickball. Go on, get in that game, Aunt Nanette said, gently pushing me over to join them.
What were they doing? What were the people in Harlem doing?
Singing.
Eating. Good. Okay.
The students together decide which part of the text would be most appropriate to make a good statue or tableau.
All right. This is a statue of people eating.
These boys chose the word shopping from the text to do their tableau.
Shopping. What other kinds of positions do they do?
Somebody like this.
Oh, they take the clothes.
The students collaborate and exchange ideas while creating their scene.
Your thing. You want to buy that? People shopping. 3, 2, 1, statue. What are you doing?
Shopping cart.
You're pushing a shopping cart. What are you doing?
Getting money.
And what are you doing?
I'm picking out an orange.
You're picking out an orange, so you're food shopping.
Here, the boys have decided to make a tableau of the stickball game.
What are you doing?
I'm trying to hit the ball.
With your...
Stick.
Good. What are you doing?
Same thing as him.
Okay, freeze. Show us the stickball game.
When students are able to make something they've read come alive with their own bodies, it helps them absorb and retain information and think more deeply about the story, as well as make connections to their own lives and other texts.
Students can also use Tableau to show what happened just before a given scene or to predict what might happen next. All of our lessons lead to a writing activity, which is often accompanied by drawing. It's a way for students to respond to a piece of text, think more deeply about what they've experienced and learned, and express their personal ideas. The writing activities can address various writing genres. In this case, the students will work on descriptive writing. Here, we've continued with the story of James visiting his uncle Romy. Students are asked to make self-to-text references as they imagine what James would do and see when he comes to visit them. What kinds of things would he do on his day with you? Yeah.
Play wrestling on a trampoline.
You'd wrestle on the trampoline with him. What would he see right outside your house?
He would see neighbors and friends. See a lot of cars.
A lot of cars coming. Good. Everybody, fold your paper in half like this. The students draw and write about what they've just described, using ideas from the class discussion as they put pencil to paper. Here's what you're going to do. On one side of your paper, you're going to make a drawing of something James would see or do when he comes to visit you in your neighborhood. On the other side, you're going to write it for me, the description of what you've drawn, okay? Asking the children to verbalize their thoughts first and then draw and write them is a very powerful tool. Writing comes easier to them because they've already got something to say. And what about you, Chase? What's your drawing going to be of?
A ladder and I'm flipping on him.
You're flipping on him on the trampoline? Good.
This is a picture of me and James playing in the swimming pool.
You and James playing in the swimming pool? Is that swimming pool near your house?
Yes.
Okay.
I go there every day.
You go there every day in the summer. In learning development, children speak before they learn to read and write. Therefore, interactive lessons that encourage oral expression are an effective way to engage students in the writing process. Likewise, drawing activities readily engage children in the subject matter and prepare them to write.
Nearly all of our workshops involve some mime or movement activity to help build focus and foster mind-body connections. This balloon breathing activity has students concentrate on connecting their breathing to movement. Some teachers have students use this technique before a big test to help them calm nerves and collect their thoughts. Juggling is a mime activity that requires students to link the imagination to the body.
Throw the ball up there, follow with your eyes, catch it. Good.
Mime activities can be used with a classroom text to help bring a story to life. In this case, the teacher leads with a preliminary activity.
Here's something two people can do together. Shake hands. What else can two people do together?
They can have a pillow fight.
They can have a pillow fight.
Pillow fight.
And then she relates the same activity to a section of text.
We did everything together. We had a secret handshake. We built a clubhouse. It was big. What are some things that you heard that they did together?
They made a club and a secret handshake.
They had a secret handshake and they need a what?
Mime can be used to help students understand sequence. Here, the teacher demonstrates the steps of her morning routine.
What did I do?
You turned off your alarm and then you took a shower and then you ate your breakfast.
Then, the students take turns showing their morning routines.
Stretched, then she got out of bed, then she put on her clothes, then she brushed her teeth.
This activity can then be related to a text that teaches order of events. With mime and movement, students can use the body to focus their attention and to express words, concepts, and scenes from a text. Children's academic learning is not only a mental process, but also a physical one. Mime and movement activities bridge the abstract and the concrete and provide a tangible physical approach to the world of ideas. The next activity uses chairs as symbols to help students understand how meaning can be implied. There are a number of ways this activity can be used. Here, the teacher randomly arranges 3 chairs and asks the students to imagine what they could represent.
What could this be? Who has an idea of what this could represent? What do you think?
A triangle?
A triangle. Yeah.
Children use inference to see something more than just 3 chairs.
I think it could be like 3 bases, like first, second, and third, with first base, second base, and third base in a baseball game. People looking at an animal in the zoo. It can be a soccer game when 2 people run after the ball.
All right, who could come up and change these chairs into a playground? Make it look like
The teacher could then ask the students to arrange the chairs to represent a specific place or scene.
So tell me what this is.
Oh, it's a slide, and these are the 2 people waiting to go down it.
A slide with 2 people waiting to go down.
The teacher might read an excerpt from a story and ask the children to listen carefully for details.
In the middle of a flat and arid desert stood a hill of sand and rock. Near this hill was a small house. How did the author describe this place? What kinds of pictures did you see in your mind?
There's a sandy hill.
A sandy hill.
The students would then be asked to position 3 chairs to represent characters, objects, or elements of the setting from the scene that they just
This
heard.
would be Jim, and he's in the garden, which is the seat of the chair, and then the house is the back, and these 2 chairs are the hill in the background.
Students can connect the placement of chairs with character relationships within a story, as well as understand how elements of setting can be used by an author to create meaning and effect.
We're going to do a lesson about places. Yeah, so we're going to get a chance to think about place. How do you know you're in a place?
Guided tour gives students the opportunity to explore the concept of setting. First by visualizing and describing a familiar space, and later by discussing a story or classroom text and where it takes place.
And what is it in this room that we see that tells us, like we're in, for example, a classroom? How would we know we're in a
We
classroom?
have backpacks set up, and we're all sitting at tables.
We're sitting at tables.
We have a whiteboard.
We have a whiteboard over here. So I'm going to take you to a place where I live now, all right? So we open the door here, and we come in. All right, now right to the right over here is a closet, okay? And when you open the door inside the closet, there's some jackets and shoes and things like that. Hey, if you come over here, there's a desk right here.
While giving the tour, it's important to use as much detail and commentary as possible. Where are objects situated? How are things arranged? What about the furniture or decorations?
And over here, there's a couch right there. And over here on this wall, there's a big, huge painting that my daughter gave to me. Who thinks they might have some questions to ask me about where I live?
Is it a big building with a lot of houses?
No, but I used to live in a very tall building when I was your age.
Next, the class discusses what might be found in a specific setting.
So what kinds of things might you find in a kitchen?
An oven.
An oven, yes. What else?
The sink.
The sink. Might find a sink, yeah.
A microwave.
A microwave, yeah, yes.
Sometimes there might be a tile floor.
Then, the teacher classifies and extends that information.
So this is a way to describe floors. How else could we describe a floor?
Wooden.
Wooden?
Well, maybe we could describe the color.
There, now I'm going to give you a turn now to lead people into your home. And
Students lead a partner on a tour through a place that's familiar to them.
My room is green and it has a lot of space.
The teacher should encourage the partners to ask questions in order to get more
Are
information.
there any windows in your room? So there's 2 windows. I noticed that there was some writing on the window.
So I'm going to show you my dad's room. If you go here, you'll see my mom and dad's closet. My dad holds his ties and his tuxedos and shirts in there. and my mom holds her dresses and stuff, and sometimes they hold my birthday and Christmas presents in here.
The guided tour activity provides rich material for writing and drawing about a space that students have envisioned.
TV and the window with air conditioning right on the side, and there's a fan.
This is my closet, and it has a bunch of shoes. And this is the storage space, and this is my drawer.
One of the key elements of comprehending a story is understanding where it takes place. The guided tour strategy sets the stage for discussing the elements of setting in a story or classroom text.
Change 3 is a theater game in which students carefully observe the physical appearance of a partner, and then both students turn away. The partners change 3 things about their appearance, such as clothing, hair, or accessories. Then they turn back to face each other and try to identify what changes were made. After the teacher demonstrates the activity with 2 volunteers, the whole class lines up facing each other to play.
Did everybody look at their partners on the other side?
Yes.
You observed them really well?
Yep.
All right, now both of you turn around and change.
Students need to pay attention to details and use some ingenuity to solve the problem of what to change. They experience the joy of working together and much lively interaction as they turn around and guess what changes their partners have made.
All right, turn around and face your partner, see if you can guess the 3 things.
Well, you unbutton your collar. You took your shoes off. And you rolled up your sleeves. You unbutton your shirt. Your ring is gone. Her sweater was on. Her shoes, her hair, and her shirt.
Besides focusing attention and honing observation and memory skills, this strategy helps students become more comfortable observing others, as well as being looked at, which builds confidence for classroom presentations. Change 3 can lead to a descriptive writing activity. Students can be asked to describe another student to a partner and then write about what they've observed. Or it can segue into describing a character from a story. In the activity What's the Story?, students look at a 2-person tableau and try to imagine what could be happening in that scene. First, the teacher shapes the students into an arbitrary position without having a story in mind. Then he asks the class what they see. This is a valuable tool to address all the literary elements. The teacher leads the students to consider not only a problem or plot line, but also who the characters are, what the setting might be, and what dialogue could be included.
Who are they? Where are they? And what's happening here?
I think she's a teacher and she yelled at him.
So if she's a teacher, who would he be?
A little kid.
A teacher and a little kid. Where would they be? In the classroom. What did he do? What happened? What happened? Yeah.
He released caterpillars in the library.
He brought a bunch of caterpillars to school and he released them in the library. Ooh, that's a good story. What do you think she might be saying to him about that? What would she be saying?
You have a 4-hour detention after school.
You have a 4-hour detention after school. What do you think his name is? Do you think she knows his name?
Mm-hmm.
What might his name be?
His name is Sam.
Sam, you have a 4-hour detention after school, Sam.
Students could even be asked to imagine what might happen next, or what happened in the preceding scene.
What do you think is happening in the story right before? What's happening here?
I think he's pointing at the caterpillar in his hand. I think he's picking up his caterpillars that he released in the library so the teacher wouldn't know that he released them.
Oh, and what do you think he might be saying at this moment? If that's what was happening, what would he be saying?
I am so in trouble.
I like that.
What's the Story is a creative way to reinforce the student's knowledge of all the literary elements. It makes great use of inference and prediction and is a wonderful way to jumpstart young writers' imaginations. The activity can be extended to have the students work as partners to come up with their own tableau and then identify the characters, the setting, as well as the problem and solution. In this strategy, called guided imagery, the teacher guides the students with an open-ended story prompt that the students respond to in their imaginations. Now you're walking down this path and you see kind of an opening in the trees. You're going to go through that opening in the trees and you hear a sound. And as you get closer, you realize it's an animal making the sound. It's important to give the students time to visualize their stories and to prompt them with questions which help them focus on details. What does the animal look like? What sound does it make? Look around you. What do you see? You're listening to that animal, and that animal is somehow communicating to you that it's in trouble and that it needs your help. What happens next in your story? Are you able to help it? When they've completed their visualizations, we ask them to turn to a partner and tell the story they've conceived.
I keep pulling.
I tried to stick them in, and then the bird,
Where was it last? After sharing their story verbally, they first make a drawing of what they've imagined, and then they write it down.
climb up the tree to eat the bird, and the bird was calling for help.
Sammy was stuck in the tree, so I pulled him out.
Here, students are agents of their own story, solving problems and exploring mysteries from the safety of their own imaginations.
Then he saw where is the sound is coming from the elephants.
This special time of quiet concentration and gentle guidance allows students to access ideas and images that spring from their own minds, reinforcing their ability to create, invent, and be the source of original thinking. The writing activity can be extended to focus on more complex writing elements, such as the use of descriptive language or identifying order of events, or other writing skills.
In this activity, students use hand puppets to respond to a series of prompts, creatively solve problems, and understand character traits. They improvise stories and then refine them through writing activities. First, the teacher models how to use your puppet to create a character.
So, if you wanted to get to know my puppet, what are some of the questions that you might ask him?
How old are you?
3 years old.
Do you have a sister or a brother?
I have a sister and 2 brothers.
Do you have any pets?
Yes.
What are their names?
I've got a snail named Tommy.
Then the students work in pairs to develop their puppets' characters.
What's your name? My name is Giovanni. What's your favorite food? My favorite food is ice cream. What's your favorite thing to do? Skateboard. Oh, that's awesome.
Then they ask about the character's feelings.
Makes your puppet happy. I like going to the beach. That makes me really happy. What makes your puppet angry? When I don't get to do what I want. What makes your puppet sad? When people bully me.
Once they identify their puppet's preferences and characteristics, they then fill out the About My Puppet writing form. Then, students are given a prompt as a springboard to create a narrative plotline.
Now A's are going to tell B's a story, starting with the line, "You'll never believe
What happened to me yesterday." What? I saw a cat in the street and almost got ran over.
Partners are encouraged to ask questions, getting them in the habit of gathering information when reading or listening to a story.
What color was he? He was green with pink polka dots. Did you find its owner? Was he fuzzy? Kinda.
The students can work with a partner to come up with a story. They start by identifying who the characters in their story will be. The teacher and the class together can brainstorm a list of different types of characters. Then the relationship between the characters needs to be decided.
Do you want them to be cousins?
We're strangers. Yeah, we're strangers.
Next, they decide where the story will take place.
What about a rainforest?
Maybe playground instead, like a walk in the park.
And what problem the characters face.
And then we're like fighting over which way to go.
Then they figure out a possible solution to the problem.
And when they trust each other to listen to each other, then they find their way home.
The students write the elements of the story they've just verbalized onto the problem-solution narrative form. If they'd like, students can perform the story for the class.
Hey, look, there's a playground. Uh-oh, we're lost. Let's go this way. No, let's go this way. Let's go that way. Okay, let's listen to each other and find our way.
The use of hand puppets encourages improvised oral expression and provides a safe vehicle through which children can talk about themselves. It allows students to build confidence and find a new voice, and gives even the most reluctant writer something to write about.
The end.